Hey there, fourth grade. This is Mr. Campbell. Today we're going to be working on page 341. This is lesson 9.3, add fractions with like denominators. All right. So at the end of today, we want you to be able to say, I can use my understanding of addition as joining parts of the same whole to add fractions with like denominators. Now, before we move on real fast, I just want to make sure that we are on the same page. So when we have a fraction, all right, we have a fraction. If I wrote out my fraction like this, so 1/4, we've got two parts of this fraction. The top part, which is called the numerator, and the bottom part, which is called the denominator. All right. Now, we're going to be using those vocabulary words a lot, so it's really important you practice using numerator and denominator, all right? Now, I think of denominator like down on the bottom, that's the bottom number is our denominator, all right? Our numerator is up on top, all right? That's just one of the ways that I like to think of it. The other thing is our numerator is how many parts. All right. So this is like how many we have. All right. How many we have. And then the bottom is how many to make a whole. And you're going to hear me say these a lot over these lessons. Our numerator up on top, how many pieces do we have? How many parts are there? And then our denominator is how many does it take to make the whole number? All right. So if you think about this, if this is 1/4, if I had a pizza, all right, and I broke it into 4 pieces, all right. In this case, I ate one of those pieces of pizza, all right. So one of those pieces of pizza has been eaten. How many more do I have to eat to make the whole? I need 3 more. There's 4 total. 1, 2, 3, 4 to make one whole pizza. And I ate one of those 4 pieces. That's what we're working on when we're talking about our fractions. And today, we're going to be adding fractions together. All right. And so if I use this pizza again, and I said I ate 1/4, all right, and then I gave another 1/4 to Miss Hanley. All right. Miss Hanley gets a piece of pizza too. So we had 1/4 here, and then 1 more fourth is going to go to Miss Hanley. How many have I shaded in? Well, I shaded 1, 2. So that's my numerator. How many parts? 2 parts. Did we change how many pieces there were in the whole pizza? No, we still would need 4 pieces to make our whole. So 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 2/4. And that's exactly how we can solve adding fractions with like denominators. And when it says like denominators, that means the denominators are the same. In this case, they were both the number 4. Let's go ahead and turn to the next page. So we're on page 342 here. And it says, the table shows a 4th grade pets club survey. What fraction of the club members chose a hamster or a dog as their favorite pet? All right. And so it says, add the fractions for hamsters and dogs to find the result. So let's look over here. We've got hamsters are right here and dogs are right here. I look at my denominator on the bottom and they're the same. They're both 12. That means that there was 12 people who were asked what their favorite pet was. So let's jump down here to box B. It says find 2/12 plus 4/12 using a model. So here's our 2/12, and then we needed 4 more 12ths. 1, 2, 3, 4. And where did we end up? We ended up with 6/12. All right. Down here, they're just showing us 1 plus 1 was 2. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 was 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. And there was still 12 people total. This is using the model, and that's what's happening. And just like when we've been working on addition or multiplication and subtraction, models can be really helpful. But if we can learn to just do the actual algorithms and the actual number math, we can do it a little quicker. So let's look over here. It says, well, let's find 2/12 and 4/12 by joining parts. And look what they did here. They've got some different colors going on. The green numbers stay the same. So what that means is they took 2/12 plus 4/12 and put it all over 12. So 2 plus 4 over 12. And when we do that, 2 plus 4 is 6, and the 12 stays the same. When we're using common denominators or like denominators, it just stays the same over and over and over again. All right? Now down here, it does say 6/12 is equivalent to 1/2, which means 1/2 of the members chose a hamster or a dog. Equivalent means equal. So 6/12 is equal to 1/2. All right. That's all that we're kind of doing. Well, let's check it out on page 343. So go ahead and turn to the next page with me. All right, 343. And now we're going to take a look at this example. And it says, what if I had 4/5 plus 3/5? All right, 4/5 plus 3/5. And check it out over here. We've got that exactly right there. And they decomposed 4/5 into 4 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1s, and 3/5 into 1 plus 1 plus 1, right here. Our denominators are still writing the exact same way. All right. So when I do this, I say, all right, well, what's 4 plus 3? 4 plus 3 is 7. My fifths still stayed the same all the way through, which is why my denominator stays right there. Okay. Now that I've done that, now we can take that. Whenever my numerator is bigger than my denominator, I need to turn it into a mixed number. And the way that I do that is I say, well, I want to see if I can take out this denominator. I want to take it out of here. So what do? Well, we take our 7/5 and break it into 5/5 plus 2/5. Because 5/5 is one whole part, right? It's one whole. So if I had a candy bar and I broke it into my fifths, all right, and I was like, you know what? I want to color in how many of these candy bars I have. Well, I have 7/5. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I'm not done. I need 7. So 6, 7. 5/5 is right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 colored in, and it takes 5 to make one whole, which is why I can just rewrite that as one whole. Down here, I have 1 2/5 left over. So I can put these together, which will be 1 2/5. So we can always go back and say, okay, let's change this into a mixed number. All right, well, let's come on down here. And now we are going to go ahead and start working on adding some fractions with common denominators. So we're going to try out number 3 and number 5 together, and then I'm going to have you practice some more on your own. So let's go ahead and see. We've got 2/4 plus 1/4. All right, and so I'm going to put my equal sign right here. I see I have the same denominator. So when I write my answer, I'm going to make it over 4. Okay, well, I'm going to take my two numerators and add those together. You don't have to write this part if you don't want to, but just to show you, I took 2 plus 1 and put it over 4. And then I can ask that question, well, what is 2 plus 1? 2 plus 1 is 3, and my denominator stays the same, 4ths, 3/4. Okay. All right, let's check out number 5. Number 5, I'm going to do the same thing. All right, I'm going to make my fraction. My denominator is 12, so it's going to stay 12 here. And now I'm going to say, well, what's 11 plus 2 more? 11 plus 2. Well, 11 plus 2 is 13. Hey, wait a second. I see that my numerator is bigger than my denominator here. So what does that mean I need to do? I need to go ahead and break it apart. So I want 12 over 12, because that's going to be 1 whole, plus, well, how many would be left over? If I took 12 out of this 13, what would I be left with? I'd be left with 1 out of 12. So when I do this, I can say, well, here's 12 over 12. That's 1 whole. And then I still have 1/12 left over. Okay. So when my denominators are the same, I can add the numerators together and keep that denominator. If my numerator is bigger than the denominator, I need to turn it into a mixed number. So I want you to go ahead and try out right now numbers 4 and number 6 on your own. So pause the video, work on those 2 problems, and then come back and check your work. All right, if you didn't pause your video, do that right now, because we're going to go ahead and work this problem. So my denominator is 3. My denominator is 3. So my denominator will stay 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. So my answer is 3 over 3. But wait a second. Just like before when we had 12 over 12, that turned into 1 whole. If my numerator and denominator are the same, then I need to write it as 1 whole. All right. Now down here, I can see I've got 1/10 plus 4/10. Well, that means my denominator is going to stay as a 10. 1 plus 4 is 5. Huh. I see something interesting here. My denominator is 10 and my numerator is half. And like if I'm thinking of my hands, right? Well, if I had 10 to make a whole and I only had 5, that would be half of them. 5 is half of my fingers. And that's exactly what 5/10 is. 5/10 is equal to 1/2. So that's what we would write for that one. Well, when you come down here to your independent practice, remember to keep your denominators the same, add your numerators together, and then go ahead and solve that problem. Thanks so much for working with me today, 4th grade. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and we will see you next time. Have a good one.